Just start, the unstoppable power of the first step. Prologue, the spark that ignites the journey. Sound of gentle waves lapping on a shore, a soft, distant hum of the ocean. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, limitless ocean. Your bare feet are just touching the cold, frothy water, the sand shifting beneath your toes. The horizon stretches out, an endless blue promise, and the sheer scale of it all feels impossible. The thought of swimming across, of making it to the other side, is so immense it paralyzes you. But what if you weren't asked to swim across the whole ocean? What if, for now, all you were asked to do was take one single step forward? Just wade in for a few minutes. Just start. That single small act, that tiny step, is the essence of this book. It is the most powerful force in the universe, more potent than any grand plan or intricate strategy. In a world full of overthinking, of endless planning, of waiting for the perfect moment that never comes, this simple act of beginning is what transforms your life. Starting something, whether it's a new habit, a long-avoided project, or a deeply held dream, is what creates momentum. It's like a train slowly, almost imperceptibly, chugging out of the station. It takes a massive effort at first to overcome the inertia, the friction of stillness. But once that first inch is conquered, once you're moving, it's far, far easier to keep going. The inertia of being stuck gives way to the irresistible flow of action. My own journey to this very moment, to writing this book, was a testament to this power. For years, I had this dream, this nagging whisper in the back of my mind. It was a picture of myself, sitting at a desk, surrounded by notes, creating something that could help others. But the dream felt too big. The mental to-do list was a crushing weight. Research, outline, write, edit, publish, market. It was a full-time job before I even typed a single word. So I would do what so many of us do. I'd research for hours, meticulously organizing notes in a spreadsheet. I'd read every book on the topic, convinced that I needed to know everything before I could say anything. And I would tell myself, I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I have a clearer plan. I'll start when I feel ready. The truth is, I was waiting for permission. Permission from a perfect plan, a clear schedule, a bolt of inspiration from the heavens. That permission never came. The real catalyst, the moment the train finally lurched into motion, was the day I got fed up. I closed all my research tabs, put my carefully organized notes away, and simply opened a blank document. I told myself, I'm just going to write for 5 minutes. That's it. No more, no less. I don't have to write anything good, I just have to write something. That day, I wrote a single imperfect paragraph. It was clumsy, and it wasn't the opening I had envisioned, but it was a start. And that tiny start, that pebble dropped into the still water of my inaction, created a ripple. The next day, I wrote for 5 minutes again, and the day after that, those 5 minutes turned into 10, then 20, and eventually, hours. The resistance didn't disappear completely, but its grip weakened. The initial act of starting was the hardest part, and once I had done it, the path forward became clearer, the momentum became its own fuel. This book isn't about grand strategies or complex systems, it's about harnessing the raw, primal power of that initial step. We'll dive into the psychological and neurological reasons why starting is so hard, and why it's also the only true solution. We'll explore the right mindset to overcome resistance, the simple mental tools to make starting effortless, and the practical frameworks to sustain your drive long after the initial burst of motivation fades. At the heart of it all is a concept we'll return to again and again: clarity. Not clarity on every single step of the journey, but clarity on your deepest why. Understanding the emotional, heartfelt reason you want to do something is the rocket fuel that will launch you out of inertia. Because when you truly believe in something from the heart, it is no longer a chore or a task. It is a calling. And a calling, even the smallest one, is always within reach if you just start. The journey we're about to embark on together will be broken down into 11 powerful, actionable chapters. We'll move from understanding the myth of momentum to cultivating the right mindset to uncovering your deepest purpose. We'll build a toolbox of simple techniques and learn how to sustain the powerful motion you've created. And in the end, You'll be ready to not just start, but to finish, to achieve, to become the person you were always meant to be. This is your invitation. The tide is waiting. Your journey begins not with a plan, but with a single, courageous step forward. Just start. Chapter 1. The Momentum Myth. Why starting trumps planning? Sound of a train's engine slowly chugging to life, the loud hiss of steam and the metallic groan of wheels beginning to turn. We have been conditioned to believe in the myth of momentum. It's the story we tell ourselves, often without realizing it, that goes something like this. I can't start yet. I need to get everything in order first. I need the perfect plan, the ideal conditions, the right tools. I need momentum to happen to me before I can begin. We wait for a wave of motivation to sweep us up, a sudden surge of inspiration that will make the work feel effortless from the first moment. But perfection is a myth. Waiting is the enemy of progress, and momentum is not a force of nature that you wait for. It is a force that you, and you alone, create. Think about that train we heard at the beginning. It requires a tremendous amount of energy, a huge initial push to overcome the friction and inertia of being at rest. The wheels groan, the ground trembles, and the engine strains. But once it's rolling, once it's on the move, it glides with a fraction of that initial effort. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a principle rooted in physics, and it applies directly to the human brain. Neuroscientists and psychologists have a term for that initial push: activation energy. It's the mental and emotional effort required to begin a new task or change behavior. The bigger the task feels, the higher the activation energy. If your goal is to write a book, the activation energy is so high, it feels like trying to move a mountain with your bare hands. It's too big, too intimidating, and your brain's natural response is to conserve energy and avoid the task altogether. This is the root of procrastination. But what if you could lower that barrier? What if you could make the activation energy so small, so laughably insignificant, that your brain couldn't possibly argue against it? This is the genius behind James Clear's concept of the 2-minute rule from his best-selling book, Atomic Habits. The idea is breathtaking in its simplicity. Scale down any new habit or goal into a version that takes 2 minutes or less to complete. The goal isn't to accomplish the whole thing, but to simply show up and start. Want to become a writer? Don't tell yourself you have to write for 2 hours. That's too much activation energy. Instead, just write one sentence. One single sentence. Want to run a marathon? Don't commit to a 10-mile run on your first day. Just put on your running shoes. That's the start. Just the act of putting on the shoes is the momentum-creating first step. Want to learn a new language? Don't commit to a 30-minute lesson. Just open the app on your phone. This is not a trick. It's a scientifically backed principle. The act of starting, no matter how small, sends a signal to your brain. It says, okay, we're doing this. The journey has begun. This action builds a tiny bit of momentum, and that momentum makes the next step easier. According to research on habit formation, the initial cue, the routine, and the reward all build a powerful neural loop. The 2-minute rule focuses on making the initial routine so simple that the cue almost automatically leads to the action. For instance, the cue, I just finished dinner, can be linked to the routine, I will wash one dish, just one dish. That one action, once started, almost always leads to washing a few more, then a few more, until the sink is clean. So many of us are trapped in a cycle of waiting. We wait for inspiration. We wait for the right time. We wait for a feeling of readiness. But the key takeaway from this chapter is that momentum is not something you wait for. It's something you create. Action begets action. The longer you delay, the heavier the mental load becomes, and the more daunting the task appears. It's a cruel feedback loop, but by breaking the inertia with a micro-start, you reverse that loop. You create a virtuous cycle where each small action makes the next one feel not only possible, but inevitable. Just start, and watch the path unfold. The journey of 1,000 miles begins not with a perfect roadmap, but with a single, humble, and powerful step. Chapter 2. Cultivating the Right Mindset, From Resistance to Readiness. Sound of a single, slow raindrop hitting a tin roof, then another until a steady, rhythmic rain begins to fall, washing everything clean. Before we can effectively use any tool or framework, we must first address the soil in which they will be planted, our mindset. A tool in the hands of someone with a defeated or fearful mindset is useless. As the famous psychologist Carol Dweck explains in her groundbreaking work, the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset is the foundation of all progress. A fixed mindset believes that our abilities, intelligence, and talents are static, unchangeable traits. When faced with a challenge, this mindset says, "I'm not good at this," and gives up. A growth mindset, on the other hand, understands that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. It hears a challenge and says, "I can't do this yet," and sees failure not as a verdict, but as an opportunity for growth. Resistance often stems from fear. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not being good enough. This fear acts as an impenetrable wall, keeping us from ever taking that first step. We look at our goal, writing a book, starting a business, getting fit, and we envision a perfect, flawless outcome. Then we look at our current, imperfect selves and decide the gap is too wide to cross. But a growth mindset reframes the entire equation. It turns a performance into an experiment. It asks a different, more liberating question. What's the worst that could happen if I just started for 5 minutes? In those 5 minutes, you might write a terrible sentence, you might do a clumsy push-up, you might have a stumbling conversation in a new language. But what did you lose? Nothing. What did you gain? Data. You gained insight into where you are, what the challenge actually feels like, and a small victory over your fear. This is the crucial shift. Moving from a place of, "I have to be good at this," to, "I am going to learn from this." Here are 3 practical mindset shifts to help you move from resistance to readiness, to become a person who just starts. 1. Embrace imperfection. This is the most important lesson. Done is infinitely better than perfect. We are often so paralyzed by the vision of a flawless final product that we refuse to create the messy, imperfect first draft. Your first workout, your first draft of a business plan, your first attempt at a new skill, they are supposed to be flawed. They are raw material. Michelangelo didn't create the statue of David in a single stroke. He started with a massive, unrefined block of marble. Your job isn't to be a master on day 1. Your job is to create a block of marble to work with. The willingness to be bad at something is the secret ingredient to becoming great at it. 2. Focus on process, not outcome. When you fixate on the end result, the book on the shelf, the finished painting, the ripped abs, you put immense pressure on yourself. This obsession with the outcome is what paralyzes you. Instead, shift your focus to the process. Celebrate the act of starting itself. Did you write your 1 sentence today? Victory. Did you get on the treadmill for 2 minutes? Triumph. The process is the only thing you have full control over. The outcomes are simply a natural consequence of consistently showing up for the process. When you fall in love with the process, the results take care of themselves. 3. Build self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. If you stumble, if you miss a day, if you write a particularly awful sentence, it's not a failure, it's just data. Don't beat yourself up. It's a useless and destructive habit. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this? And what's the smallest step I can take right now to get back on track? A setback isn't a sign that you should quit. It's a sign that you're human. Acknowledge the stumble, forgive yourself, and just start again. When you internalize these mindset shifts, starting becomes a habit rather than a dreaded hurdle. You will find that consistency compounds, turning small starts into massive achievements. You'll move from a place of chronic resistance, where every new thing feels like a fight, to a place of natural readiness, where starting is simply the obvious, easy next step. It's like the steady, gentle rain we heard at the beginning. It doesn't fall all at once. It falls in a rhythm, a consistent and gentle process that, over time, changes the entire landscape. Chapter 3. Uncovering Your Why, the 7 Whys Framework. Sound of a ticking clock, slow and steady, then a series of gentle, aha chimes. Imagine you have a full tank of gas, a perfectly tuned engine, and a pristine car. You can drive anywhere. But if you don't know your destination, you're just driving in circles, burning fuel with no purpose. This is what happens when you try to just start without a clear why. Motivation is that full tank of gas. Without a strong purpose, a reason that resonates deep in your heart, that motivation will fizzle out. You'll be left stalled on the side of the road, frustrated and questioning why you even bothered. This is why clarity on your purpose is the rocket fuel for the journey. It's the anchor that pulls you through the storms of doubt, the late nights, and the inevitable moments of wanting to quit. But discovering your true why isn't always as simple as a single question. The first answer is often a superficial one. I want to start a business to make money. I want to get fit to look good. These are fine reasons, but they often aren't strong enough to carry you through the real struggles. This chapter introduces a powerful framework to drill down to your core motivation, the 7 Whys technique. It's a deeper, more emotional twist on Toyota's famous 5 Whys root cause analysis, which they used to find the source of manufacturing problems. We'll use it to find the source of your emotional drive. How it works. Start with your initial goal, then ask yourself why 7 times. With each answer, you'll ask, why is that important? Or, why do I want that? This process peels away the layers of superficial reasons, revealing the heartfelt drivers beneath. Let's walk through an example. Goal, write a book. 1. Why? To share my ideas. Okay, but why is that important? 2. Why? Because I believe these ideas can help people. Good, but why does helping people matter to you? 3. Why? It fulfills my need to contribute something meaningful to the world. Getting warmer, what does that contribution do for you? 4. Why? Because contribution gives my life a sense of purpose. Aha, now we're getting to the core. Why is purpose so important? 5. Why? Purpose makes me feel less empty. It gives me a reason to get up in the morning. Deep. What does a meaningful life mean to you? 6. Why? It's about leaving a legacy. It's about feeling like my time on earth mattered. This is powerful. Why do you need to leave a legacy? 7. Why? Because deep down, I believe I can inspire others, and that inspiration is what will truly live on long after I'm gone. By the 7th why, you're no longer talking about a book. You're talking about leaving an inspiring legacy. That's an emotional, resonant, and deeply personal reason. That's the feeling from the heart we talked about. This is a force that money or external validation can never replace. This framework can be applied to any endeavor. Goal, get in shape. Oh, why? To feel healthier. Oh, why? To have more energy. Oh, why? So I can keep up with my kids. Oh, why? To be a strong role model for them. Oh, why? To show them the importance of self-care. Oh, why? To be a present and active parent for as long as possible. Oh, why? To cherish every moment I have with my family, knowing I did everything in my power to be there for them. The final why is the unbreakable anchor that will pull you through the days you don't feel like working out. The motivation isn't about vanity, it's about love, family, and connection. Belief isn't wishful thinking, it's rooted in this crystalline purpose. When you can articulate your why, when you feel it in your gut, your actions become a natural extension of your purpose. The act of starting is no longer a chore. It's an act of faith in your deepest values. When you have this clarity, you'll find that all the tools and techniques we'll discuss become infinitely more effective. Your belief in the heart of your purpose is what makes your journey unstoppable. Chapter 4, Mental Tools and Frameworks for the Initial Step. Sound of a toolbox opening, the clinking of different metal tools, then the gentle click of a timer. You have the right mindset, and you've uncovered your deep, resonant why. Now, you need the practical tools to bridge the gap between thought and action. This chapter isn't about complex, multi-layered systems. It's about simple, intuitive mental frameworks that make the initial step so effortless that it almost feels automatic. Think of these as your go-to instruments for breaking through that activation energy. They are simple to remember and easy to apply in the moment you feel resistance begin to build. 1. The Pomodoro Technique with a twist. The classic Pomodoro Technique uses 25-minute work intervals, followed by a 5-minute break. It's effective, but for a true just start approach, we'll shorten the initial burst. Set a timer for just 5 to 10 minutes. Tell yourself, I only have to work on this for 5 minutes, then I'm free. This short duration is so non-intimidating that your brain has a hard time arguing against it. Often, once you've been working for those 5 minutes, the momentum takes over, and you'll find yourself easily working for 15, 20, or even an hour. The goal isn't the duration. The goal is the start. The short timer is a low-stakes invitation to action. 2. The 5-second rule, Mel Robbins. When you feel a moment of hesitation, that split second where your brain starts to talk you out of something, count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move. This rule is a physical and psychological hack. The act of counting backward interrupts the part of your brain that loves to overthink and build a fortress of excuses. It's a circuit breaker. As soon as you hit 1, you must physically take an action. Stand up, open the document, make the phone call. It doesn't allow your mind to paralyze you with doubt. It pushes you from a state of contemplation to a state of motion. 3. Habit stacking. This tool, popularized by B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits methodology and refined by James Clear, leverages the power of existing routines. It's based on a simple formula. After/before an existing habit, I will do my new habit. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will write 1 sentence. Before I drink my morning coffee, I will do 3 push-ups. After I check my email, I will work on my project for 5 minutes. By attaching your new desired action to a behavior you already perform automatically, you create a powerful trigger. It's like putting a new piece of track right next to an already moving train. The momentum from the old habit carries you into the new one. 4. Visualization bridge. This is a powerful, yet quick, mental exercise. Before you start, spend just 30 seconds visualizing the end state of that single initial step. Don't visualize the entire grand outcome, just the immediate one. For example, if you want to write 1 page, visualize yourself typing the last word of that page and feeling a sense of satisfaction. Then, immediately, without a pause, take the first physical action of typing the first word. This visualization bridge connects the desired emotional feeling with the immediate micro-action required to achieve it. It makes starting not just a task, but a step towards a feeling of accomplishment. 5. Accountability anchors. Sometimes, external pressure is a powerful antidote to internal resistance. Tell a trusted friend, family member, or colleague what you plan to start. I'm going to work on my business idea for 10 minutes today. The simple act of telling someone creates a soft form of accountability. You don't have to report back, but knowing that someone knows can be just enough to get you to take that first step. Apps and online communities can also serve as effective accountability anchors. These tools aren't one size fits all. The key is to experiment. Try the Pomodoro with a twist for a week. The next week, try the 5-second rule. Find what works for you and then incorporate it into your daily life. The goal is to make the initial step so simple, it becomes automatic. This toolbox is designed to turn your good intentions into unstoppable forward motion. Chapter 5. Sustaining momentum, keeping the train rolling. Sound of a train moving at a steady, rhythmic pace, the wheels on the tracks a consistent, powerful beat. You've mastered the art of starting. You've taken that first step, created the initial momentum, and you're no longer standing still at the edge of the ocean. The train is moving. But a train can't get to its destination without a clear path, and more importantly, without a way to refuel and maintain its speed. This chapter is about how to sustain the momentum you've built, to turn that initial burst of action into a consistent, powerful force that carries you all the way to your destination. The challenge of sustaining momentum is different from the challenge of starting. The enemy is no longer inertia. It's a combination of fatigue, plateaus, and the loss of novelty. The initial excitement fades. The work becomes work. This is where most people quit. But you won't, because you will have these frameworks to guide you. 1. Track your wins. The Start Journal. A Start Journal is not a place to list all your failures or to-dos. It's a simple, daily log where you write down every single time you just started something. Did you start a conversation? Write it down. Did you open that dreaded email? Log it. Did you get on the treadmill for 2 minutes? Celebrate it. Seeing this list grow, seeing the evidence of your consistency, provides a powerful, positive reinforcement loop. It trains your brain to see yourself as a starter. This psychological shift, from seeing yourself as someone who struggles to begin, to seeing yourself as someone who consistently begins, is one of the most powerful mindset changes you can make. The journal is your visible proof that you are, in fact, doing the work. 2. Handle plateaus by scaling back. Every journey has plateaus, periods where progress seems to stall. Your motivation dips, the work feels tedious, and you feel like you're not getting anywhere. When this happens, don't force it. Instead, revisit the principles from the beginning of this book. Scale back your effort to the absolute minimum. If you were writing for an hour a day, go back to writing for just 5 minutes. If you were exercising for 30 minutes, just put on your workout clothes. The goal during a plateau isn't to make massive progress. It's simply to maintain the habit. It's to keep the train on the tracks, even if it's moving at a crawl. This is how you avoid burnout and prevent a plateau from becoming a complete stop. 3. Build rituals, not just habits. A habit is an automatic behavior. A ritual is a habit infused with intention and meaning. Create a cue for your start that is more than just a step in a process. Make it a meaningful moment. For example, before you sit down to write, put on a specific instrumental playlist. Or before you start your workout, do a 30-second breathing exercise. These rituals create a clear psychological signal that says, it is now time to start. They turn a routine into a sacred act, a commitment to yourself. These simple rituals lower the activation energy by making the start a positive, familiar experience. 4. Community fuel. We are social creatures, and our environment has a profound impact on our actions. Surround yourself, both online and in person, with other starters. Find a community, a forum, a group of people who are also in the habit of beginning things. When you see others celebrating their small starts, when you have a place to share your own tiny victories, it fuels your own motivation. This isn't about competition, it's about mutual support and shared energy. It proves that what you're doing is possible and that you're not alone in the struggle. Like a train on its tracks, you must guide your momentum with intention. The journey is not a sprint, it's a consistent, rhythmic movement forward. Over time, starting becomes second nature. It will be as natural as breathing. And you will look back in awe at the monumental things you accomplished, all because you had the courage and discipline to simply and consistently start. Chapter 6. The Art of the Micro-Commitment. Scaling down your fear. Sound of a single small stone dropping into a quiet pond, a single ripple, then another and another spreading out slowly. The biggest obstacle to starting isn't laziness, it's fear. And that fear is almost always tied to the overwhelming size of the task. Our minds are excellent at blowing things out of proportion, transforming a single project into a terrifying, unmanageable monster. The key to fighting this is a concept we've touched on, but will now explore in depth: the art of the micro-commitment. A micro-commitment is a promise to yourself that is so small and so short in duration that it is impossible to fail. It's the ultimate antidote to fear and procrastination. It bypasses the logical part of your brain that wants to argue, but it's too hard, you'll never finish, and instead offers a commitment that is so minimal the brain simply says, oh, okay, I can do that. Think about the difference in psychological weight between these two commitments. Commitment A, I will write chapter 1 of my book today. Commitment B, I will write one single sentence of my book today. Commitment A is an invitation for procrastination. It feels like a mountain. The brain immediately floods with all the reasons why you can't, why it's not the right time, and what you would rather be doing. Commitment B, however, is a non-event. It's so easy it's almost silly. And because it's so easy, you're far more likely to do it. The power lies in the fact that the act of starting, no matter how small, is what matters. Once you've written that one sentence, the entire landscape changes. The project no longer feels insurmountable. It's now something you've already started. This principle is what underpins so many successful personal transformations. A person who wants to get in shape doesn't start by promising to run 10 miles. That's a recipe for burnout and failure. They start by promising to put on their running shoes, or walk to the end of the driveway, or run for just 2 minutes. These are all micro-commitments. They don't require a monumental act of willpower. They simply require a tiny act of will. And that tiny act of will is all you need to create the momentum that will carry you through the rest. Here are some examples of powerful micro-commitments for different areas of your life. For a creative project, I will open the document and type one word. I will sketch for 1 minute. I will play one chord on my guitar. For a learning goal, I will read one paragraph of a textbook. I will watch 1 minute of a tutorial video. I will look up one single word in a new language. For a house task, I will pick up one item of clothing off the floor. I will wash one dish. I will put one piece of paper in the shredder. For a career goal, I will open the LinkedIn app. I will draft one sentence of a cover letter. I will send one email to a potential contact. The beauty of the micro-commitment is its psychological safety. It removes the pressure of perfection and the fear of failure. When you commit to something so small, you're not judging the quality of the work. you're simply celebrating the act of starting. This trains your brain to associate beginning with a feeling of victory, not with a feeling of dread. Over time, you'll find that you automatically start with these micro-commitments and often find yourself going well beyond them without even thinking about it. The biggest secret is that the goal of the micro-commitment isn't the task itself. It's the ritual of beginning. It's the practice of moving from stillness to motion. And in that practice, you build the most valuable skill of all, the ability to just start. Chapter 7: The Power of Less. Overcoming Analysis Paralysis. Sound of a cluttered, chaotic room, papers rustling, then a sense of calm as the sounds quiet and the space becomes still. In our modern world, we are drowning in information and options. We have access to more tools, more strategies, and more expert advice than ever before. While this sounds like a good thing, it often leads to a phenomenon known as analysis paralysis. We become so obsessed with finding the best way to start, the perfect tool to use, or the right system to follow, that we never actually begin. We spend all our energy planning, researching, and consuming information, mistaking it for progress. The result is a mind that is full, but a life that is empty of action. This is the tyranny of too many choices. When you have 10 different project management apps, a dozen different writing software programs, and 50 different productivity hacks, choosing a single one becomes a project in itself. The fear of making the wrong choice keeps us from making any choice at all. We are so afraid of imperfection that we choose inaction. The solution is deceptively simple: embrace the power of less. The most effective way to overcome analysis paralysis is to actively and intentionally limit your options. Restrict your choices to just one or two, and then commit to using that tool or method for a set period of time. It's a strategic simplification that frees up your mental energy from endless comparison and allows you to focus it where it truly matters, on the work itself. For example, if you want to start writing, don't spend a month researching the perfect writing software. Open a simple, blank document on your computer and just start typing. If you want to get fit, don't subscribe to 10 different workout apps. Pick one simple exercise, like a 5-minute walk, and do only that. The goal isn't to find the perfect solution. The goal is to find a good enough solution that allows you to start right now. This principle of less is more is also crucial for managing your goals. Instead of trying to tackle 5 different life-changing projects at once, pick just one. Focus your energy and your starting power on a single, compelling goal. This singular focus creates a powerful feedback loop. When you see progress on one thing, it builds your confidence and makes it easier to tackle the next. Spreading yourself too thin, on the other hand, ensures that you make slow progress on everything and feel like you're accomplishing nothing. The power of less is a rebellion against the modern compulsion to overcomplicate things. It's a return to simplicity and direct action. It's a recognition that the most sophisticated strategies are worthless without the courage to take the first simple step. When you strip away the unnecessary, when you limit your options and focus on just one thing, you create a clear path forward. Remember, the goal isn't to have all the answers before you begin. The goal is to start with the answers you have. You don't need a perfect roadmap to leave the driveway. You just need to know where you're going. The specific turns and detours will become clear as you move forward. So, turn off the research tabs, close the comparison apps, and just start with what you have. The clarity you seek isn't found in more information, it's found in action. Chapter 8: The Joy of the First Draft. Embracing the messy beginning. Sound of a pen scratching on paper, a frustrated sigh, then a gentle, steady, and creative rhythm. The idea of the first draft is often intimidating. We imagine it as a flawless, polished piece of work, and the reality of a messy, clumsy, and imperfect beginning can be deeply discouraging. But what if we reframe the first draft? What if we saw it not as a product, but as a practice? As a liberating, joyful mess? The first draft of anything, a piece of writing, a painting, a workout, a conversation, is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be a record of your thoughts, your feelings, your effort. It is raw material. A sculptor doesn't worry if the initial block of marble is beautiful. They simply start chipping away. A chef doesn't worry if the ingredients are perfectly arranged. They simply start chopping and mixing. The first draft is the equivalent of the first raw ingredients, and its very nature is to be messy. In this chapter, we'll explore the deep psychological freedom that comes from embracing the mess. The pressure to be perfect from the start is a thief of creativity and joy. It's what keeps so many people from ever beginning. We tell ourselves, I can't write this book because my first chapter won't be good enough. Or, I can't start this business because my first pitch deck won't be professional enough. This is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid the vulnerability of being a beginner. But when you give yourself permission to create a terrible first draft, you unlock a powerful creative flow. You are no longer held back by self-criticism. You are no longer worried about the judgment of an audience that doesn't exist yet. Your only job is to get something, anything, down, to capture the raw, unfiltered essence of your idea. For example, when writing a blog post, a novelist, or a college paper, don't worry about grammar, spelling, or perfect phrasing. Just write. Let the words spill out. It can be a stream of consciousness, a disjointed list of ideas, or just random notes. The goal is to fill the blank space. Once there is something on the page, the task shifts from the terrifying act of creation to the manageable act of revision. It is far easier to edit a bad page than it is to create a perfect one from a blank slate. This principle extends to all areas of life. Learning a new skill, your first attempt at anything will be clumsy. Your first time playing the piano, you will hit the wrong notes. Your first time speaking a new language, you will make mistakes. That's not a sign of failure, it's a sign of a successful beginning. Embrace the clumsiness, laugh at your mistakes. They are proof that you are trying. Starting a business, your first product, your first website, your first marketing plan, they will all be imperfect. This is a good thing. The first version is a learning tool. It's the raw material that you will refine, improve, and iterate on. The most successful businesses in the world started with a messy, imperfect first draft. Getting in shape, your first workout might be short and feel easy. You might feel awkward and out of place. Your first diet might have a few slips and mistakes. But the point isn't to be a perfect athlete or a perfect eater on day one. The point is to create a first draft of a healthier life. And from that, you build and refine. The joy of the first draft comes from this sense of liberation. It's the freedom to try, to fail, and to learn, without the crippling weight of expectation. It's the realization that perfection is an illusion, and that true progress is found in the willingness to be a beginner. So give yourself permission to be a complete mess. It is the single most effective way to just start and keep going. Chapter 9. The Power of Tiny Habits and Micro Rewards. Sound of a single coin dropping into a jar, then a few more, until a rhythmic and satisfying chime fills the air. We've talked about the power of tiny starts. Now let's talk about the fuel that keeps those starts going. Tiny habits and micro rewards. Motivation is not a constant, endless resource. It ebbs and flows. The secret to long-term success is not relying on a feeling of motivation. It's building a system that makes progress inevitable, regardless of how you feel. This system is built on two pillars: making the habit so small it's impossible to fail, and immediately rewarding yourself for that tiny success. We already explored the concept of the micro-commitment, like writing one sentence. The habit stacking technique we covered in Chapter 4 is a perfect way to implement this. But what happens after you do the action? The old model says, just keep going. The new model says, celebrate the victory, no matter how small. This is where the concept of the micro-reward comes in. A micro-reward is an immediate, positive feeling or action that you associate with completing your tiny habit. It doesn't have to be a major reward. It can be as simple as a mental high five. I did it. I wrote my one sentence. Good for me. A verbal affirmation. Yes, I opened the gym app. Let's go. A small physical action. A fist pump, a stretch, or a short walk around the room. B.J. Fogg, a Stanford behavioral scientist, emphasizes the importance of celebrating even the smallest successes. According to Fogg, when we feel good, our brain produces a chemical called dopamine, which reinforces the behavior that preceded the good feeling. So, when you do a tiny habit and immediately celebrate it, you are literally wiring your brain to want to do it again. The habit becomes not a chore, but a source of pleasure. For example, let's say your goal is to start meditating for 15 minutes a day, but you're finding it hard to get started. You could apply this principle. Habit stack. After I turn off my alarm in the morning, I will sit down and meditate. Tiny habit. I will meditate for 1 minute. That's it. Micro reward. As soon as I'm done with that minute, I will say, nailed it, out loud and smile. This sounds almost too simple to be effective, but it works because it focuses on a feeling. The feeling of success and accomplishment, no matter how tiny, is what creates the neural pathway that makes the habit stick. It's about creating a positive emotional connection to the act of beginning. The goal is to get to a point where the habit itself is the reward. You start to feel uncomfortable not doing it. This approach is especially powerful because it doesn't require a feeling of motivation to get started. It creates motivation from the action itself. The positive feeling from the micro-reward is what fuels the desire to repeat the action the next day. It's a self-sustaining cycle of progress. So for every just start moment you have, remember to follow it with a celebration. It doesn't have to be big or loud. It just has to be immediate. The feeling of success, that small chime of victory in your mind, is the most powerful fuel there is. It's the small change, dropped into the jar, that over time fills it with abundance. Chapter 10. Building your personal ecosystem of support. Sound of a forest, the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and a sense of interconnected life. No one succeeds alone. The myth of the lone genius or the self-made hero is a romantic fiction. In reality, every single person who has achieved something great had a support system, an ecosystem of people, places, and tools that enabled their journey. This chapter is about intentionally building your own personal ecosystem of support to make the act of starting not just a solitary struggle, but a shared and celebrated journey. Your ecosystem of support is made up of three key elements: your environment, your tools, and your community. 1. Your environment as a trigger. Your physical space has a profound impact on your ability to just start. It can either be a place of friction or a place of flow. The goal is to design your environment to make your desired action the easiest, most obvious choice. This is called environment design. Oh, want to start working out? Lay out your workout clothes and shoes the night before. This eliminates a decision point in the morning and makes the first step a simple one. Oh, want to write more? Set up a dedicated writing space that is free of distractions. Keep your laptop open to your documents so you can just sit down and start typing. Oh, want to eat healthier? Keep healthy snacks at the front of your fridge and pantry. Hide the junk food. Make the right choice the easy one. Your environment is a silent but powerful partner in your journey. A disorganized, chaotic space creates mental chaos. A streamlined, intentional space makes action feel natural. 2. Your tools as a catalyst. While we talked about avoiding analysis paralysis in Chapter 7, the right tools, used strategically, can be catalysts for action. The key is to choose tools that simplify the start, not complicate it. Oh, for writing, use a simple app like a plain text editor or a distraction-free writing tool. The lack of fancy features keeps you from tinkering with formatting and forces you to just write. Oh, for project management, use a simple checklist or a single whiteboard. The goal is to have a clear, visible list of your next just start action, not a complex system with a steep learning curve. Oh, for learning, use a physical notebook and pen for note-taking. The act of writing by hand can increase retention and focus, and it removes the distractions of a computer. The best tool is often the simplest one. It's the tool that gets you from 0 to 1 with the least amount of friction. 3. Your community is a fuel source. The most powerful part of your ecosystem is the people in it. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you are surrounded by people who are constantly complaining, procrastinating, and talking about what they should do, you will naturally fall into those same patterns. Oh, seek out starters. Find friends, mentors, or online communities of people who are taking action. A friend who is also training for a marathon can be your running buddy and accountability partner. A community of writers can offer encouragement and share their own struggles and successes. Oh, find an accountability partner. This person isn't a taskmaster, they are a partner in the journey. Simply sharing your daily micro-commitment with them can be enough to ensure you follow through. Oh, teach others. The act of teaching a skill to someone else is a powerful way to reinforce your own knowledge and commitment. By showing others how you just start, you solidify the habit in your own mind and become a leader in your own journey. Your personal ecosystem of support is not a luxury. It is a necessity for long-term success. It is the soil, the water, and the air that nourishes your ability to begin and to keep going. By intentionally designing your environment, choosing simple tools, and surrounding yourself with people who inspire action, You make the act of starting not just a personal struggle, but a natural and inevitable part of your life. Chapter 11. The feedback loop of action, from doing to being. Sound of a single, powerful ding of a bell, then the sound of a person walking with a steady, confident stride. You've learned to start, to create momentum, to overcome fear, to embrace the mess, to build a supportive ecosystem. This final chapter is about tying it all together and understanding the profound transformation that occurs when you consistently just start. It's the final and most powerful lesson, the journey from a person who does to a person who is. When you first begin, you are someone who is trying to do a new thing. You are a person who wants to be a writer, a runner, or an artist. The action feels like a separate, difficult task. But as you consistently apply the principles in this book, micro commitments, tiny habits, and mindset shifts, a powerful change takes place. You start to embody the action. This is the feedback loop of action. Every time you just start, you send a signal to your brain. You are telling yourself, I am a person who starts things. I am a person who takes action. This belief is reinforced every single time you sit down to write for 5 minutes, or put on your shoes for a run, or make a single phone call. The action informs the belief, and the belief in turn makes the next action easier. Think of it like a muscle. When you first start lifting a new weight, the action is difficult. Your muscles are weak, and your belief in your strength is low. But with every successful lift, your muscles get stronger, and your belief in your strength grows. Soon, you are no longer a person who is trying to lift weights. You are a person who is strong. The action has changed your identity. The same is true for the act of starting. When you first begin, the voice of resistance is loud. It says, you can't do this. But every time you override that voice with a tiny, powerful action, you are building a new neural pathway. You are proving that you can, in fact, do this. Over time, that new pathway becomes the default. The voice of resistance gets quieter, and the voice of action gets louder. This is what it means to go from doing to being. You are no longer someone who tries to write. You are a writer. You are no longer someone who tries to be healthy. You are a healthy person. You are no longer someone who tries to be disciplined. You are a disciplined person. Your identity is not a pre-existing condition. It is a direct result of your habits. Your actions today are the foundation of who you will be tomorrow. The person you are trying to become is built on the daily rituals of starting. This is why the smallest step holds the greatest power. It's not about the magnitude of the action. It's about the consistency of the action. The journey we have been on together has been about giving you the tools to take that first step, but the ultimate prize is the person you become in the process. You are no longer waiting for the wave. You are the wave. You are no longer waiting for momentum. You are the force that creates it. Epilogue, your journey begins now. Sound of a single, long, resonant chime, then the sound of a strong, purposeful heartbeat. We've reached the end of our journey, but for you, it is just the beginning. We started at the edge of a vast ocean, paralyzed by the enormity of the unknown. We've learned that the secret to crossing it isn't a perfect plan, but a single courageous step. You now have the blueprint. You have the mindset to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. You have the emotional anchor of your deepest why to pull you through the toughest moments. You have a toolbox of practical, simple frameworks, from the 5-second rule to the Pomodoro with a twist, to bypass your brain's natural tendency to procrastinate. You know how to sustain momentum, embrace imperfection, and build an ecosystem of support. The power lies not in the destination, but in the motion. That first step, that tiny, seemingly insignificant act, creates the ripple that propels you forward. A dream deferred is potential wasted. A life lived in the waiting room is a life unlived. The time for planning is over. The time for dreaming is over. The time for wishing is over. The only thing that remains is to act. What will you start today? What is the one thing you've been putting off? The phone call you've been avoiding? The one sentence you've been afraid to write? The 5-minute walk you've been telling yourself you'll do later? Close this book, take a deep, calming breath, and begin. Believe from the heart and watch the world open up. Just start. Simple but very effective exercises. Sound of a calm, reflective tone. Now, it's time to take the knowledge from this book and turn it into action. These exercises are designed to be simple, effective, and to be done in the moment you feel resistance. They are your first steps. Exercise 1, the 10-minute timer. Goal: to overcome procrastination on a specific task. Action: 1. Choose one task you have been putting off. Example: cleaning the garage, writing an email, paying a bill. 2. Set a timer on your phone for exactly 10 minutes. 3. Tell yourself, I am only going to work on this task for 10 minutes. When the timer goes off, I can stop no matter what. 4. Begin the task. Purpose: this exercise lowers the activation energy so dramatically that it tricks your brain into starting. You'll often find that you work well past the 10 minutes, but the commitment was only for that short period, making it a guaranteed success. Exercise 2, the just one rule. Goal: to build a new habit without getting overwhelmed. Action: 1. Choose one new habit you want to start. Example: reading, exercising, meditating. 2. Scale it down to the smallest possible action, the just one version. Reading: I will read just one page. Exercising: I will do just one push-up. Meditating: I will sit and breathe for just 1 minute. 3. Every day for 1 week, do only that just one action. Do not try to do more. Purpose: this exercise trains your brain to associate the habit with the feeling of ease and success, not effort and struggle. It is the foundation of long-term habit formation. Exercise 3, the 5 whys for clarity. Goal: to connect a difficult task to your core motivation. Action: 1. Take a single piece of paper and write down a goal you are struggling to start. 2. Underneath it, ask why and write down your answer. 3. Underneath that answer, ask why is that important and write down the next answer. 4. Repeat this process 5 times. Purpose: this exercise forces you to peel back the superficial reasons and connect your action to your deepest values and emotions. When you feel a task is a chore, this exercise reestablishes it as an act of purpose. Exercise 4, the Start Journal. Goal: to create a positive feedback loop for starting. Action: 1. Keep a small notebook or a single note on your phone. 2. At the end of each day, write down 3 things you just started. I just started writing that email I've been avoiding. I just started working on my project for 15 minutes. I just started that difficult conversation with my friend. 3. Don't judge the quality or outcome. Simply celebrate the act of starting. Purpose: this simple log creates visible proof of your progress and trains your brain to see you as a person of action, not hesitation. It builds your confidence and reinforces the habit of beginning.